So thanks everyone for joining me today on the talk around data governance and thinking about it as unlocking data potential and not just about data protection. So as we go through this today, I want you to take out probably three things. I want you to think about what the true value of data governance is differently. I want you to talk to your business differently about the value of data governance and how it's about that potential of the data and it's not just about the data protection. And I want you to think about how you inspire your teams around data governance, about how they think about it and how they get passionate about it as they do about the data modeling, the data analytics. So, everyone in the data space is dreaming of a data-driven world, a data-driven decision-making world. It's some flavor of this. It's predictive technology to grow your revenue, where you need to target, how you need to grow it, where you can expand, where you can challenge, where you can protect, or where you need to retreat. It's about getting to that machine learning driven customer-facing interactions, or even just the data-driven decision-making around your customer interactions. Reacting to them quicker, understanding them better, and really turning the dial on those interactions. And then it's about simplification of your operations. It's about identifying the opportunities. It's about really unlocking the benefit to your bottom line and automating those thousands of regular, repeated jobs. But reaching that data potential takes so long. I imagine if you're a manager, if you're a director, you've hired a team of data scientists, a team of analysts. You've got all this vision, all this plan to deliver benefit to the business, but it doesn't seem to get any faster. It doesn't seem to cut down that time to value within the business. You still face a lot of challenges because they are spending their time just accessing the data, understanding the data, a huge portion of their time just going through that. There is so much gridlock in the minds of your analysts and your data scientists about whether they should be accessing, which data they should be accessing, how they should be accessing it, whether they should be. They check with their manager who doesn't really know. And then they have to go a whole loop round, figure out what the process is. If they need access to a new piece of data, they have to have numerous different checkpoints to figure that out. And it takes so long, it just churns up in their minds and it slows them down. And after that, once they've got that access or once they've checked that they should have that access, it's understanding the data. It's knowing what the nuances of the data are, knowing where it comes from, what it means. Some of it just really isn't clear, but this is all a path that has been trodden within your business before. This is all, someone has created that data in a system somewhere at some point within your business. They've just not written it down. And someone has probably gone across that data from an analytics perspective before. But without the role defined to actually own that data, they've not written it down. They've gone into delivery mode rather than document mode, because that's what they're there for. Their role isn't to document that data. So you are just repeating tasks that other people have done, and you're getting caught up with it. After you've accessed and understood the data for the model, there's still a whole period of cleansing that data. You have to go through, again, understand the nuances, understand where one field is just creating one duplicate because of a flag, and how it's been cleared out, and it might be valuable for one part of the business, so it is in the data set, but not for another. And again, that effort of cleaning the data has been repeated in your business. And this isn't getting to gold standard finance, legal, regulatory data. This is about what is the right level of quality, knowing the quality for your data, for that data science model. And just understanding that takes another huge effort, and it's repeated tasks that have already been covered within your business. And only then do you get to building the models and the KPIs that you need to measure. Only then do you start doing the things that your data scientists, your analysts are enjoying doing, and to start to unlock that value, all the good stuff, model selection, feature selection, in-sample, out-of-sample testing, in order to understand how to build that model to really truly release the value within your business. And we put a lot of effort in the data community in automating just that part of it. Automated feature selection, automated model selection. You can reduce the time during that, in that phase, But it is the 20%, not the 80% of your effort. So if you're going by the 80-20 rule, it's the wrong area to focus on. And only then do you get to your business value. So there is that huge lag before that last part of just releasing business value. So data governance can be used to support this. It can significantly improve your efficiency around this. There's a stat everyone knows, everyone's seen before. 80% of your analyst's time is spent discovering and preparing the data. I think it's been around probably about 10 to 15 years. New York Times released it first, but it's a big number. It doesn't tell you what you need to do about it. It tells you there's a problem, but it doesn't tell you how. It's not an action-orientated insight. That's where you need some of the supplementary information from wider research. So some of our research has suggested 7 out of 10 employees are not certain if they have access to the data they should. That goes both ways. That is, the data I have access to, should I really be accessing it? Is it the right data for me to touch? Again, that comes back to where I was talking about that gridlock in their mind. Even before they go to the manager to check, they just run through the data to see what's in it, whether they should be touching it, if there's any red flags. Even if they find none, they'll probably still go up to the manager, still get information security involved, still get the DPO involved. 8 out of 10 people say they have no clearly defined, say that no clearly defined data roles are having a huge impact on their efficiency around data. Your data scientists and your analysts are not there. You're not incentivizing them to document and define your data. They're there to deliver. They're in that mindset of, I will deliver on this data. And without those clearly defined roles, they'll run through that in that accessing and understanding data and the cleansing the data. Every data set they've rejected for whatever reason is not going to be written down. They'll just take the data that's important for that model, document the model, but everything else that they've touched, someone else is going to come over it and repeat the activity again unless you have those clearly defined data roles in your business. So those are the two of the big areas within that create inefficiency. And it can be quantified. So what does this mean? A lot of people look at data governance and they jump to the mindset of data protection. What are the fines if it leaks? What are the regulations? What goes wrong? What happens if it goes wrong? Or they do sometimes look at the time that can be taken out, but they think about taking those analysts out of your business. Build a business case about taking the analysts or the data scientists out, rather than focusing them on something else or accelerating their time to market. And you're not going to release those data scientists or analysts. The market is not flush with them, and you're not going to take them out of your business. So I'll just talk quickly around one of my experiences within within model building. Once upon a time, I was a data scientist which was hands-on with the data. Actually, I think this was before data scientist was actually a thing. But we spent 4 months building a model which gave a £25 million yearly profit improvement. Per week, that was the equivalent to about 500K of additional profit that model was delivering when we actually had rolled it out. Think about that number for a second, 500K. That is more than a data governance program is going to cost. And accelerating each week to market of that model would have given that additional benefit. We spent 2 months accessing that data and understanding it. We went over hundreds of data sets. We rejected hundreds of data sets. The field names were junk. They had some technical field name that we just did not know what it meant. That had been put in place by a developer at some point in a system somewhere, but they hadn't written it down, what it meant and how it interacted. This obviously could cause operational issues, but when you're building data science models, we just couldn't understand it. Other issue, the data was junk. It wasn't the right quality, or we didn't understand what the good enough quality of that data was. And then the final one, it was too hard to wrangle it into the form that we needed. We found these golden data sets. They were titled exactly what we wanted. The field names looked like exactly what we wanted, but how it was structured just didn't make sense. And how it could interact with other data sets just didn't make sense. So we ended up rejecting them. And we probably were not the first. There were probably data science analytics teams that went over this data before. Some of this was in a data warehouse. They've gone over it, found it, used it, rejected it probably, but not documented, not said what it actually means. And that would have been a huge amount of cost. So we spent 1 month cleansing the data, so another 25%, which is why I think that 80% slat is not too wrong. So 75% of our time up to that point. So 1 month cleansing the data. This didn't mean getting it perfect. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't ever going to be perfect. We didn't need it to be perfect data. But we just needed to understand where those pitfalls were, where we needed to make a slight tweak to the data so that it was right for us. There was 1 week in that month where we encountered one problem in one field in one table. That field was in a trusted table on the data warehouse. It was a financial table, but the field itself wasn't financial. And when we went to the engineering team who were responsible for developing that table, they knew about it. We discovered the issue by chance, and it had a huge effect on our model. We discovered it by just triangulating between 2 tables, and it was lucky we spotted it. But it was a week where we were seeing this impact on what we wanted to do and how it didn't make sense. And when we went to the engineering team, they already knew about it. They didn't see it as important to fix it because no one was using it. It wasn't a financial field. But they also didn't see it as important to actually write it down and share it and document it because it wasn't their role. They didn't have a defined data role. That week cost 500K of additional profit. And then, obviously, we got to the model building. We spent about a month on the model building in total. Again, I reflect this was a while ago, but we probably spent a bit too much time on the visualization and selling it to the business, but that's a key task as well. But obviously that was model selection, what was the right model, what was the right features. And then we got to the point where we were able to implement it into the systems, and we saw that value being realized. And that was what got us excited within the team. And that is the team element, getting that model in place, seeing that A/B test, seeing that trial line just take off from the control line. And that was the part of the effort that got us hugely excited as an analytics team. So it is more than just data protection. I don't want to forget the data protection element. That is absolutely key. That is key. That is an important component of data governance as a whole. You do need to protect your customers' data. You do need to protect your people, that they're accessing the right data that they should, that they're not seeing data that they shouldn't. It is important, and you do need to protect your business. You need to demonstrate to those external auditors that you are compliant, that you have got the right agenda. But it's more than that. We talk about that a lot in data governance. It is more than that. It is unlocking that potential and through building the trust in the data and the transparency in the data. So I've spoken about it several times already, but your people trusting that they're accessing the data they should, and the right controls are around them, so it's not even part of their mindset that they can access that data. And then when they share it, when they share the dashboards, when they share the reporting, that the people that can then see that, they trust that they should be able to see that. Your analysts, your data scientists, that's just not even part of their mindset. Or they might have that role, but they're helping the others accelerate their time. And then trusting the quality and meaning of the data. Not trusting it's the highest quality, but trusting they know what that quality is. And trusting they know how to make some simple tweaks to the underlying data so that it's the right quality for what they're trying to do. And then the meaning side of it, they know what that data means. From a transparency perspective, you can discover the data, you can explore the data. It's not just what's in your horizon, what's in your domain. You've got that easy access to see what else is out there. You know what the access controls are around that so that you know who to speak to, you know what the process is to discover that data. And then your analyst time is spent unlocking that potential rather than just defining and protecting it. So what can you do about this? You can get this started very, very quickly. You can get this off the ground very, very quickly. You can kickstart it in probably under 10 weeks to just start the process within your organization. Starting off, you need to know where you are. You need to do that data maturity assessment. You need to understand how formal, informal are your structures around the business? How siloed are some of your domains? Where do you have data owners? What is your literacy in the business? This takes about 2 to 4 weeks, that data maturity assessment. But that helps you build a picture of where your capability is. And then you get on to defining what is right for you. Again, the next 5 boxes are probably another 2 to 4 weeks worth of effort. Your data governance strategy should always support your data strategy. Just as your business strategy isn't driven by your data strategy isn't driven by your data governance strategy. It is focused on what is important for your data strategy. Your data governance strategy is focused on what's important for your data strategy. Your data owner and steward role profiles, that is again what's right for your business. That is again tailored to what your business is. There's templates obviously for what that looks like, but it might be structured slightly differently between different businesses. Classification, getting your critical data elements right, and knowing what your PII is. What is PII? What are your critical data elements for your business? And then what are your domains? The guide to data definition, really supporting those stewards or supporting those owners as to how to classify the data for you. Sorry, how to define the data for you. And then the quality framework. What is the right quality for the right domain? Finance needs to be gold standard. Legal, regulatory, gold standard. But other domains, other bits around data science, other bits around analytics, that does not need to be that high quality. Well, it needs to be high quality, but not gold standard quality. But what is right for your business and your domains? And then you roll out your data governance framework. Then you have your data governance framework as a whole, and you can start rolling it out into your business in 10 weeks. And that can then start unlocking that potential within your business. This is quite a simple example. Again, just demonstrates how it can be tailored to your business. Your data stewards are your SMEs. They're your data experts. They're the ones who are hands-on day to day. There might be some of them within your analysts. There might be some which are within your functional areas. Within your business, depending on your data literacy, you might have that federated across your business, or you might have that centralized initially so that then it can drive out that competency. Your data owners, they're the ones who are truly accountable for data within their area. Again, depending on the maturity, what that maturity assessment comes back with, that can be more central, that could be more federated, but they're the ones who need to stand over what quality is right for that area, what definitions are in that area, and what that data domain means. And then it comes together at the top, at the committee. Now this, depending on the organization, is chaired by your CDO, head of data governance, your head of data, has participants around engineering, architecture, but also those data owners. And it's the ultimate authority around those policies. It has the DPO on it, obviously, but it's the ultimate authority around those policies. It solves any clashes within the data owners around what should be in which domain, and really drives out that policy and framework. But like I said, this is a high-level example, but it's what's right for your business. It should be tailored to how you're set up, what your maturity is, what your literacy is. So, hopefully, I've convinced you to focus the conversation on the value of unlocking the potential of data, and not just thinking about this as data protection. If you haven't already, kickstart your data governance program. Get it off the ground. It can be done very, very quickly, and it can be done very effectively, and you can start unlocking your data scientists and your analysts from having to repeat tasks that have been done before, and really start to deliver value quicker. If it's off the ground, or if you need to convince your business to get it off the ground, communicate the true value of your data governance program. Think about all the change programs your data strategy is supporting this year, all that value across your business. There would have been a business case, I imagine, several times throughout the year of what that means. Think about the true value behind that. And then think that means from a week-to-week basis. And I'm going to make the assumption that for a lot of you, that is going to be quite a big number, and that is going to be more than actually getting this data governance program off the ground would actually cost. And then that maximizes the productivity within your team. It frees up the mindset of your analysts. It makes sure they have the right roles and right definitions for them, but it also used that take on it to inspire it around unlocking data potential, to get them inspired around focusing on this, around the importance of it. And that allows them to focus on what they enjoy, what they really find fun around data. So thank you. That is my talk on data unlocking potential. Please come up and ask any questions if you have any.